conditions are so light, I've decided to hoist the spinnaker. It's my 17th day at sea, and currently Wave Rover is about 75 miles northwest of Bermuda. Now we're heading to a point in the ocean, a waypoint that is, let me see if I can remember it, 34 degrees 30 minutes north, 65 degrees 30 minutes west. And at this point we hope to pick up a current, a north-setting current that'll propel us maybe a knot or more, add to our speed. This is not the Gulf Stream, it's an eddy from the Gulf Stream that'll take us to the Gulf Stream. We then, probably by Sunday, will be crossing the Gulf Stream, but we'll be crossing it at a right angle because at that point the Gulf Stream will be basically heading eastward. Now, to complicate matters, we have two low pressure systems. One that I'll encounter tonight, it'll be about 150 miles north of me, so I won't get the main effect of it, but I'll certainly feel something. The second one will be on Sunday, and I'm monitoring that one close because both of these have gale force winds in them, and you know, Wave Rover still is only a tiny boat, so we have to be very cautious and cognizant of the effects of wind. Anyway, let's head up on deck and see the sunrise. Yesterday, the wind conditions were so light I had the spinnaker up, but because the wind conditions were so light and the spinnaker was able to increase the speed of Wave Rover, the relative wind over the Mark III wasn't enough for Wave Rover to steer herself. So later in the evening, I doused the spinnaker, I put the jib back up. By hoisting the jib, the Mark III was able to maintain a pretty steady course, and then overnight the wind increased anyway. Wave Rover is stopped right now. Let me explain what's going on. Just north of us, about 200 miles, we have a low pressure system going through tonight, and that's going to bring with it gale force winds. And then on Sunday night, 3 nights later, we're going to have another low pressure system go through a little farther north when we would be in the middle of the Gulf Stream. So the plan is to let both those systems go through and then move into the area. Now, I'll still get some effects of those winds, there's no avoiding it, but it'll be very much mitigated. So how does Wave Rover stop? Well, we're hove to, and I'll go out on deck and I'll show you exactly what that looks like, but I also want to show you what it looks like on the chart. I've been tracking our motion, so you can see what sort of motion Wave Rover, what sort of direction Wave Rover makes while she is hove to. All right, we'll take a look at the chart now. Okay, so what we have here, the red triangle, that's Wave Rover, and the yellow line is the course that we've been making good over the last hour. And you may not be able to see it down here, but you can see that this distance right here indicated in the legend is 1 nautical mile. So this yellow line is approximately 2 nautical miles. So in an hour, we've traveled 2 nautical miles. But here's the thing, the wind is blowing this direction right here. So we're actually gaining on the wind. The wind is blowing from the south, southeast, and we're making good somewhere east, southeast. So that's pretty good. We're slowly going into the wind. And when we go outside, you'll see the wind is blowing probably 10 to 15 knots right now. So let's go up on deck and take a look at what the sails look like for Hove 2. Wave Rover currently has a back-winded and reefed jib and a single reefed main. In addition, you want to lash your helm a lee, which you'll see in a moment. It's Friday, June 5th, and I'm on the move again. So yesterday I had planned to be Hove 2 for 24 hours. I ended up being Hove 2 for 12 hours. And the reason is I get 2 text messages every day from my brother, who's a former Navy captain, and I trust his opinion, and he's giving me weather information. So his information yesterday was, Hove 2, there's a situation developing, and just wait. And then this morning, very early in the morning at 0300, I got another message from him saying, head to a waypoint approximately 200 nautical miles northwest of where I am. The reason being is there's a ridge of low pressure building from Newfoundland all the way down to Bermuda, and it's going to form a very large and powerful low pressure system that's going to be sitting mostly over top of Bermuda, or so it seems right now. And with that, it's going to bring very, very strong winds, winds in excess of force 6, so a very, very strong gale. Now, by moving to this point, approximately 200 miles away, I'll be avoiding the worst of those winds, but not entirely. And I will have to Hove 2 again to avoid the worst of the new winds over top of the Gulf Stream, which is always a worry. So it looks like, according to the synopsis right now, that I won't really be able to get underway until about Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. We're looking at possibly losing another 5 days. But in a little boat in the North Atlantic, you should not be in a rush. You should always be cautious when it comes to weather, because the North Atlantic can be very fierce and it can happen rather quickly. So safety first. And for that reason, I am following his advice. I'm going 200 miles northwest, and I will not be in a rush to cross the Gulf Stream until it's safe to do so. So we'll head up on deck now. We'll just see what really is very mild conditions. You'll look at it and you say, I don't see any storm approaching. But that's really not how it works in the North Atlantic. Day 19 of the passage, and the last 24 hours has been excellent as far as mileage is concerned, but it hasn't been taking me home. Instead, I've been on a course to the northeast, and that's to avoid the worst of the first low that's going through. Now, even though I'll be in a position that will largely miss the low, I'm still going to get gusts well over 40 knots, and I'm expecting that. And the second part of this is I'll probably have 30 knot winds for about 18 hours, but it's better than the alternative, which was to stay heading due north for home and be right in the middle of that low for a much longer period. So that's where I stand as far as maneuvering. Now, after the low passes through, like I'll have a southerly wind for most of the time with those high winds, but then as the low moves past me, the wind will start to veer to the southwest, to the west, to the northwest. Once the wind becomes northwest, I'll then be altering course and heading northeast, more the direction I want to go, but not really for that reason. It's to put me into a better position to avoid the second low that's coming through. Now, the second low, I will be waiting it out, or at least that's the plan right now. I'll be in a position just south of the Gulf Stream, because I don't want to be in the Gulf Stream when any of these high wind or gales pass through. So I'll be in a position just south. I'll be hove to for up to 3 days, waiting for this system to go by before I can resume my track home. Now, this is all in the future by a few days, so it's subject to change, but that's the overall big picture plan that I'm working to right now. I'm going to take you up on deck so you can see the sunrise, and just opposite of the sunrise, the moon is setting. So I'll see if I can capture that, but the clouds are filling in, and I'm thinking they might be covering the moon, but we'll see. Join us in the next episode as the gale descends on us very quickly.